The things we do for love. Marissa Vecchio has followed her heart her entire life. From suburban Brisbane to boardroom success, earning a Queensland Businesswoman of the Year award in the process. Hers is a story that affirms the power of following your passion.
Now, Marissa, this is obviously your local hangout. You're definitely an East Brisbane girl.
I certainly am. I've lived in East Brisbane and Bulimba for the last over 20 years, so it is a local hangout. It's a great sense of community in this local area, and I love it.
In 2012, business life took a back seat after her mother's passing inspired a new passion project, Hanworth House, a heritage home in need of a complete restoration.
I always say Hanworth was meant to come to me at that stage of my life. I think it was probably the thing I was put on earth to do for some reason. It just became this overwhelming project, and I think sometimes you can't predict things like that will happen to you.
This is the scene 6 months into the restoration an arsonist struck, reducing the 150-year-old home to rubble.
Last night, the grand old lady on the hill burned.
All up, 80% of the building was destroyed. The structure was compromised, antique furniture ruined, months of work undone, and the entire project was in doubt. That was 2013. This is now.
So, Sophie, welcome to Hanworth.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Like a phoenix from the ashes, Marissa and a determined team of tradies, friends and volunteers have resurrected it again, leaving bare just a few scars to preserve the entire story.
The room looked rather like this on the day of the arson attack, and the next day when we came in, this room was completely devastated. The roof was blown off, the floor was blown out. The beautiful fireplace that you see behind you completely melted.
As difficult as it was to start all over again, the second rebuild actually uncovered a few more of Hanworth's secrets, including a previously undiscovered Widow's Walk, built by the original occupant and Queensland's first harbour master, Captain George Heath.
I imagine Heath's view would have been very different 150 years ago.
I'm sure that's the case. Hanworth was on 7.5 acres at that stage, and bearing in mind Heath himself had 9 children, I imagine this was his sanctuary away from the rabble that must have existed down there with 9 children. But he would have been able to see all the way up the Brisbane River, all the way to Bulimba House on our right, and probably all the way to Shafteston House on the left, and the surrounds. So it really was on a beautiful part of the world.
The reopening of Hanworth has created opportunities for Marissa's other great passions in life. As ambassador for the Queensland Women's Legal Service, she works closely with their fundraising coordinator, Natalie Davidson. They support women and their children affected by domestic violence.
Recently, we held a corporate clothing pop-up event. We had law firms from throughout Brisbane actually donate clothing, and we raised close to $10,000, which helps our service immensely.
And how lovely for you, given the journey that you have gone through and the ups and downs of getting Hanworth House back to its former glory, to just sit here now and have a chat and a cup of tea must be really lovely.
One of the loveliest things for me is when I go home at night, because I work from these premises, is to see current residents collecting in groups, and whether they be enjoying tea or champagne or whatever it might be, or dinner together. This is probably what I saw, and this is probably what the motivation was to do this in the first place.
And that your mum would be so proud.
I think she would be.
Hanworth provides both short and long-term accommodation, catered specifically to working women and students. Their next fundraising event is a documentary launch on August the 3rd, covering the entire process of bringing Hanworth back to life.